This is 98.3 FM, Outbreak FM. David Morgan here. It's 6:02 a.m. on day 4 of the outbreak. The sun is rising on our first morning without generator power. We're running completely on solar energy now. Battery banks charged overnight from rooftop panels. We have 4 hours of broadcast time this morning. Then we go off air at 10 a.m. to recharge. Back at 2 p.m. for afternoon session. This is our new normal. Limited broadcast windows, but sustainable indefinitely. We adapt or we die. We chose adaptation.Sarah, and I got 7 hours of sleep last night. First full rest in 96 hours. We're still tired but functional. Clear-headed enough to coordinate effectively. The coffee is gone. We consumed our last reserves yesterday. Now we're operating on water and willpower. Caffeine was crutch. Turns out we can function without it. You discover what you actually need versus what you think you need when everything gets stripped away. Turns out you need very little. Water, food, shelter, purpose. Everything else is luxury. 6:11 a.m. Sarah's reviewing overnight reports. The third night was the quietest yet. We documented 11 major incidents compared to 19 on night 2 and 37 on night 1. The trend is clear. Infected activity decreasing. Infected capability decreasing. Survivor defenses improving. The balance continues shifting in our favor. Not dramatically, not overnight transformation, but steady incremental improvement. Death by 1,000 cuts works both ways. The infected are dying by 1,000 cuts of degradation and defensive success. We're surviving by 1,000 small victories compounding into major survival.survivor count this morning, 134,000. We lost 3,000 overnight. That's 2.2% casualties. The rate continues declining. Compared to 25% day 1, 3% day 2, 2% day 3, now 2.2% day 4. Wait, that's higher than yesterday. Sarah's checking the numbers. Something's wrong. We should be improving. Why did casualties increase? 6:19 a.m. Sarah found the explanation. It's not combat casualties. It's medical casualties. Chronic disease is killing people faster than infected. Diabetics without insulin. Cardiac patients without medications. Asthmatics without inhalers. People with conditions that require pharmaceutical intervention. The medications are running out. People are dying in safe zones. In defended communities. In places where infected can't reach them. They're dying from treatable conditions because pharmaceutical supply chain collapsed. It's slower death than infected attack. But it's just as final. And it's preventable if we had industrial capacity to manufacture medications. But we don't. Industrial civilization collapsed. And with it, the medical infrastructure that kept millions alive. Dr. Chen is broadcasting morning medical update. We're experiencing medical crisis in safe zones. I'm treating chronic disease patients with inadequate supplies. Insulin is critically short. We have maybe 3 days remaining for diabetic patients. After that, they die. Cardiac medications are depleted. Asthma inhalers are gone. Blood pressure medications are running out. People are dying from conditions that were completely manageable 4 days ago. I need communities with pharmaceutical access to share. I need military supply convoy to prioritize medical supplies when they arrive in 5 days. And I need people to understand, if you have chronic condition requiring medication, your survival timeline is measured in days unless we find supplies. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news. Shun out. It's devastating. We survived infected outbreak. Now we're losing people to pharmaceutical shortage. The apocalypse has layers. First wave is violence. Second wave is infrastructure collapse. Third wave is supply chain failure. Each wave kills different population. First wave killed people who couldn't defend themselves. Second wave killed people dependent on electricity and water. Third wave is killing people dependent on modern medicine. The waves keep coming, each one targeting different vulnerability. We survive one wave and the next arrives. It's exhausting, demoralizing, but we endure because alternative is giving up. And giving up is death. 6:34 a.m. Captain Martinez is broadcasting morning status from both safe zones. Northside Community Center, 2,091 people. Sports Complex, 2,037 people. Combined population, 4,128. The numbers grew overnight despite medical casualties. More evacuations. More survivors reaching safety. But the growth is slowing. Most people who could evacuate already did. Remaining survivors are either too far away, too injured to travel, too isolated to know safe zones exist, or too stubborn to leave defended positions. The safe zone growth is plateauing. Martinez is announcing no convoy operations today. The vehicles need maintenance. Fuel needs to be sourced. Guards need rest after yesterday's operations and last night's sports complex battle. They'll resume convoys tomorrow if conditions allow. It's practical decision. Can't run operations indefinitely without maintenance and rest. But it means survivors who plan to evacuate today are stuck for another 24 hours. Some will survive the delay, others won't. That's calculation Martinez has to make. Risk convoy personnel through exhaustion and equipment failure? Or delay and accept some evacuees will die waiting? There's no right answer. Just terrible choices and accepting consequences. 6:49 a.m. The Eastside Community. Convoy is departing now to resupply sports complex. 3 vehicles. 15 people. Carrying ammunition, medical supplies, food, water. They're fulfilling promise made yesterday. Civilian community supporting military facility. It's role reversal that's becoming standard. The institutional structure collapsed. Informal networks replaced it. Communities helping each other because helping each other is how everyone survives. Reciprocal altruism. Insurance network. You help others expecting they'll help you when you need it. It's ancient social technology. Older than money. Older than government. As old as humanity. It's working now like it worked for our ancestors. Because it's not dependent on infrastructure. It's dependent on human nature. And human nature persists even when everything else fails. Marcus Webb is leading the convoy. He's broadcasting their route and expected return time. Eastside to Sports Complex supply run. Departing 0649 hours. Route via Henderson Boulevard and Park Street. Estimated arrival 0745. Will offload supplies and return immediately. Expected back at Eastside by 0900. If we're not back by 1000, assume trouble and don't send rescue. We knew the risks. Webb out. It's matter-of-fact acceptance of danger. Webb's leading 15 people into infected territory. Some might die. He's not pretending otherwise. He's acknowledging reality. Accepting it. Proceeding anyway because mission is necessary. That's mature leadership. That's the kind of thinking that keeps communities alive. Not false optimism. Not reckless courage. Just realistic assessment and calculated risk-taking. Sometimes you do dangerous things because not doing them is more dangerous. Webb understands that. 7:04 a.m. Sarah's monitoring the downtown trading post opening. They're starting at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. today. Special early session to coordinate sports complex resupply. Multiple communities contributing. The market is functioning as coordination hub. Not just commerce, logistics, collective action. The market operator is becoming de facto coordinator for Survivor Network. Not because of official authority, because of trusted neutral position and communication capability. People trust the market to be fair, to not take sides, to facilitate exchange honestly. That trust makes market operator, natural mediator, and coordinator. Spontaneous leadership emerging from trusted position. That's how authority forms in absence of government. Earned through consistent fair behavior. Not granted by election or appointment. Current market prices reflect supply and demand changes. Ammunition more expensive after sports complex battle demonstrated how much gets consumed in major engagement. Food slightly cheaper as successful supply runs brought in goods. Medical supplies extremely expensive as chronic disease crisis creates desperate demand. Water purification equipment valuable as contamination spreads. The prices signal what's scarce and what's abundant. The market aggregates information across entire survivor network. It's distributed computing using prices as data points. Every trade provides information. Every price change signals shift in supply or demand. It's sophisticated system that emerged spontaneously from human trading instincts. No one designed it. It designed itself through millions of years of evolutionary programming. 7:19 a.m. We're getting reports of community alliances formalizing. 5 communities on the east side are creating formal mutual defense pact. Combined population, 237 people. If any member community is attacked, all members respond with military aid. It's collective security. NATO for survivor communities. The individual communities are vulnerable. Combined, they're formidable. 237 people with coordinated command. Structure can defend against threats that would overwhelm 40-person community. The Alliance provides security through strength. Members give up some autonomy in exchange for protection. It's rational trade-off. Independence is valuable, but survival is more valuable. The communities joining alliances will survive better than isolated ones. That's evolutionary pressure selecting for cooperation. Patricia Vance from Eastside is broadcasting on behalf of the Alliance. The Eastern Communities Alliance is operational. 5 member communities. 237 people. Combined defense. Shared resources. Coordinated operations. We're accepting new members who meet criteria. Minimum 20 people. Formal leadership, adequate defenses, willingness to participate in mutual aid. If you're interested, contact Eastside on this frequency. Alliance meetings every 3 days to coordinate activities and resolve disputes. We're building something that lasts beyond immediate crisis. Join us, Vance out. It's ambitious. Creating governance structure during apocalypse, but necessary. Sustainable survival requires organization beyond individual or small group level. Requires cooperation at scale. The Alliance is experimenting with how to achieve that. They'll probably make mistakes. Probably have internal conflicts. Probably struggle with coordination. But they're trying. They're building instead of just defending. That's transition from survival to recovery. From reactive to proactive. From hoping to endure to planning to rebuild. That psychological shift that enables everything else. 7:37 a.m. Dr. Chun is calling in with research update. He's been studying the prion structure continuously. Barely sleeping. Running on stimulants and obsession. He's convinced there's countermeasure if he can just identify the right approach. He's describing his latest findings. The prion has engineered stability markers. Protein sequences that shouldn't exist in natural prions. They're synthetic additions that accelerate transmission and delay degradation. Whoever created this was brilliant and evil. They optimized every aspect for maximum lethality. But here's the thing about engineered systems. They have weaknesses that natural systems don't. The synthetic sequences create vulnerability. If I can find chemical or biological agent that targets those synthetic sequences, I might be able to accelerate prion breakdown, speed up degradation, make infected degrade in days instead of weeks. It's theoretical. I need equipment I don't have. Lab facilities that don't exist anymore. But if I'm right, if this works, we could end this outbreak in a week instead of waiting for natural degradation. It's dramatic claim. Potential cure. Or at least accelerant that converts infected from threat to non-threat faster than natural timeline. Sarah and I are skeptical. We want to believe. But we've seen too many hopes collapse. Too many promised solutions fail. We're not dismissing Chun's research. But we're not announcing cure either. We're reporting his findings. Letting people know someone is working on solution. Maintaining hope without creating false expectations. That's balance we have to strike. Give enough hope to prevent despair. Not so much hope that disappointment breaks people when hope fails. 7:52 a.m. The East Side convoy reached Sports Complex successfully. No incidents during transit. They're offloading supplies now. Ammunition, medical goods, food, water. Captain Martinez is expressing gratitude. East Side convoy arrived safely. These supplies extend our operational capacity significantly. We now have ammunition for 2 more major engagements. Medical supplies for 1 week. Food for 3 days. It's not surplus, but it's adequate. Civilian communities supporting military facility. Role reversal from what we're trained for. But we accept help gratefully. When this is over, we'll remember who helped us when we needed it. Martinez out. It's acknowledgement of debt. Military owes civilians for keeping them supplied. That's power shift. Traditionally, military protects civilians, and civilians support military with taxes and deference. Now civilians support military with direct supply, and military provides protection services. It's transactional relationship without government intermediary. Direct exchange between parties. More honest maybe. More fragile definitely. If civilians stop supplying military, military loses capability. If military stops defending safe zones, civilians lose protection. Both parties depend on each other equally. That's balance. That's mutual dependence creating mutual interest and cooperation. It might be more stable than traditional hierarchy. Time will tell. 8:07 a.m. Sarah's fielding calls from isolated survivors, asking how to reach safe zones or rural compounds. The routes are still dangerous, but less so than 3 days ago. Infected are degrading. Density is decreasing as infected spread across larger territory. Successful survivors are the ones who moved early or who are moving now during the window, where infected are impaired but not yet eliminated. Waiting too long means moving when survivors are starving. Moving too early meant moving when infected were peak danger. Moving now is optimal timing. Infected are degraded enough to be avoidable. Survivors still have strength to travel. It's sweet spot. We're providing updated tactical guidance for travel. Move in groups minimum 5 people for security. Travel between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. when infected activity and visibility are optimal. Bring 1 week supplies in case you need to shelter during journey. Carry weapons and practice headshots before departing. Avoid main roads and commercial areas where infected concentrate. Use residential streets and alleys where sightlines are better. Have multiple route options planned in case primary is blocked. Communicate position every 2 hours on CB channel 19, so someone knows your location. If you go silent. It's detailed advice based on reports from successful journeys and failed ones. People who followed this guidance mostly survived. People who improvised mostly died. The survivors who reached safe zones are teaching lessons to survivors still attempting journey. Collective learning. Shared experience. Information flowing through network. Every successful evacuation makes next evacuation easier by providing data about what works. Every failed evacuation also teaches by showing what doesn't work. Both successes and failures contribute to collective knowledge. The survivor network learns continuously, adapts constantly, improves daily. That's why survival rate is increasing. We're getting better at not dying. 8:23 a.m. We're receiving disturbing reports from western suburbs. Large infected hive. Estimated 1,200 to 1,500 infected concentrated in abandoned shopping mall. They've been accumulating there for 3 days. Not spreading, just clustering, creating massive concentration. Observers report constant moaning. Visible movement inside building. Windows broken out. Bodies visible. It's nightmare scenario. Infected nest of unprecedented size. Dr. Chun has theory about hive formation. The infected aren't intelligent, but they exhibit herd behavior. Large groups attract more individuals through sound and scent. Once critical mass forms, it becomes self-reinforcing. More infected means more moaning, means more infected attracted. It's feedback loop. The hives are forming because infected naturally cluster. It's not strategy. It's instinct. Like birds flocking or fish schooling. Simple rules creating complex behavior. The good news is hives are stationary. We can avoid them. Root around them. The bad news is if you accidentally enter hive territory, you're surrounded by hundreds or thousands of infected. Instant death. We need to map hives. Broadcast locations. Ensure no one stumbles into them unknowingly. Sarah's updating the city map, marking confirmed hive locations. Shopping mall with 1,200 infected. Industrial park with 800. Sports stadium with possible 2,000 based on reports. Warehouse district with 500. The hives contain maybe 40% of total infected population. Concentrated in specific locations, leaving other areas relatively clear. It's geographic segregation. Infected controlled zones and survivor controlled zones, with contested zones between. The city is being divided. Territory claimed by each side. We're establishing borders. Creating new geography. The maps from 4 days ago are obsolete. We're drawing new maps. Showing new reality. The city that was is gone. The city that is requires new cartography. 8:41 a.m. The downtown trading post is busy. 50 groups trading. Massive volume. The sports complex resupply coordination created traffic. Communities brought supplies to trade. Others brought goods to purchase supplies with. The market is functioning at capacity. Prices adjusting rapidly as supply and demand shift minute by minute. Ammunition prices dropped slightly as communities sold stocks to raise currency for other needs. Medical supplies remain expensive. Food prices stable. Gasoline prices rising as travel becomes more common and fuel sources deplete. New development. The market is offering banking services. Communities can deposit surplus goods with market operator for storage. Receive credit certificates. Trade certificates instead of physical goods. It's currency emerging. Backed by physical goods held by trusted third party. It's more efficient than barter. You don't need to find someone who has what you want and wants what you have. You trade goods for certificates. Trade certificates for different goods. Market operator takes small fee for storage and facilitation. Its profit motive emerging. Capitalism rebuilding itself spontaneously. No one decreed currency into existence. It emerged because it's useful. Because humans naturally create tools that make life easier. Money is tool. It makes trade easier. Therefore, people create money. Even during apocalypse. Especially during apocalypse. Trade is survival mechanism. Optimizing trade optimizes survival. 8:59 a.m. Webb's convoy is returning from sports complex. Their reporting route is clear. Minimal infected presence. They encountered 6 infected total during round trip, all avoided without combat. The degradation timeline is holding. Day 1 infected are now at 96 hours. They're barely mobile. Shambling wrecks. Easy to see and avoid. Easy to kill if necessary. Webb's convoy proves that travel is increasingly safe during daylight hours through proper route selection. The window for safe movement is expanding. Soon we'll be able to move freely during day. Restricted to defended positions only at night when infected remain dangerous. It's progress. Tangible improvement in mobility and safety. 9:14 a.m. Sarah and I are discussing our broadcast schedule. 4 hours morning. Off-air 4 hours for battery recharge. 4 hours afternoon. Off-air 14 hours overnight. It's working so far. Batteries charged to 98% overnight. We're consuming power steadily during broadcast. We'll end morning session at 65% charge. Recharge to 95% by 2 p.m. Broadcast afternoon session. End at 60%. Recharge overnight back to 95%. It's sustainable cycle. We can maintain this indefinitely as long as solar panels remain functional and weather provides adequate sunlight. We're dependent on sun now. If clouds persist for days, we'll have reduced broadcast capability. But sunny weather is typical for this region. We'll probably be fine. Probably. Nothing is guaranteed. And if you're listening to us right now, if you've been with us since day 1, or joined us yesterday, or just found this frequency this morning, stay tuned. We're here for the long haul. However long this crisis lasts. However many days or weeks or months. We'll broadcast information. We'll coordinate communities. We'll maintain hope. That's our purpose. That's how we contribute. Some people fight with weapons. We fight with information. Both are necessary. Both save lives. If this frequency helps you survive, if knowing someone is out here coordinating and caring gives you strength to continue, then we're succeeding. Check back at 2 p.m. for afternoon session. We'll have updates on convoy operations, community alliances, infected hive mapping. Everything you need to survive day 4. Stay alive until then. 9:29 a.m. We're getting reports that some communities are planning coordinated assault on smaller hives. Not the 1,200 infected shopping mall, but the 500 infected warehouse. 75 people from multiple communities. Heavily armed. Detailed planning. They're going to attempt to eliminate entire hive in single operation. If successful, it proves concentrated infected can be destroyed through coordinated assault. If they fail, it proves hives are too dangerous to attack directly and should be avoided. Either way, we learn. That's value of bold action. Attempting difficult things provides information. Succeeding proves what's possible. Failing proves what's not. Both outcomes advance collective knowledge. The assault is planned for tomorrow. Day 5. Dawn attack when infected are least active. Multiple approach vectors. Heavy weapons. Fire support. Fallback positions. Evacuation routes. They're planning professionally. Learning from sports complex defense. Applying military tactics to offensive operation. They might succeed. Or they might lose 75 people attempting impossible task. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll broadcast results. Community will learn from their experience. That's how Survivor Network evolves. Through distributed experimentation. Different communities trying different approaches. Successful tactics spread. Failed tactics are avoided. The network learns faster than any individual because it has thousands of individuals testing different solutions simultaneously. 9:47 a.m. Captain Martinez is announcing military communication update. The state government confirmed supply convoy arrives day 9. 5 days from now. Heavy resupply. Food, water, medical supplies, ammunition, fuel, construction materials. Enough for 50,000 people for 30 days. Distribution to registered communities. Registration closing day 6. Communities not registered by midnight day 6 won't receive supplies. It's hard deadline. Register or be excluded. Martinez is emphasizing, registration is mandatory for supply distribution. We need to know who exists, where they are, what they need. Registration isn't surrender of autonomy. It's information sharing that enables logistics. Register on military frequency, Alpha 73. Provide community name, location, population needs. Deadline day 6 midnight. Don't miss it. Some communities will die from pride or paranoia. Don't be those communities. Register. Martinez out. It's practical advice. Some communities distrust military. Fear registration leads to control or confiscation. That paranoia might cost them supplies. Might cost lives. The military isn't trying to control survivors. They're trying to keep survivors alive through logistical support. But trust is a scarce resource after society collapsed. People who trusted government and government failed them. Who trusted institutions and institutions collapsed. Who trusted strangers and strangers betrayed them. Trust is expensive now. Communities that can afford trust will receive supplies. Communities too afraid to trust will starve. That's cost of paranoia. Sometimes paranoia is survival instinct. Sometimes it's suicide mechanism. Knowing difference requires judgment. Survivors who judge correctly live. Survivors who judge incorrectly die. 10:04 a.m. We're approaching end of morning broadcast session. Battery power at 67%. We'll sign off in 40 minutes. Recharge during midday. Return at 2 p.m. for afternoon session. Day 4 morning has been productive. Webb's convoy succeeded. Trading post is functioning. Community alliances are forming. Military coordination is developing. Infected continue degrading. Survival continues improving. We're not through crisis, but we're past peak danger. We're descending from crisis summit. Still high altitude. Still dangerous, but descending toward safety. Every day brings us closer to sustainability, to recovery, to whatever normal means in post-apocalypse world. 10:19 a.m. Sarah's taking calls from survivors asking about long-term future. What happens after infected degrade? After military arrives? After immediate crisis passes? Do we rebuild cities? Move to rural areas? Create new settlements? What does recovery look like? These are good questions. Asking them means people believe in future. Believe there is after. That's psychologically important. People who believe in future behave differently than people who think they're dying. They plan, they invest, they cooperate. Belief in future creates future. Self-fulfilling prophecy through changed behavior. Our assessment of long-term future. Cities will be partially abandoned. Too much infrastructure damage. Too many contaminated areas. Too much trauma. Some cities might be reclaimed. Others will be left as ruins. Scavenging sites but not living spaces. Rural areas will absorb population. Small towns become centers. Farmland becomes valuable. Self-sufficient communities become standard. The economic model shifts from global supply chains to local production. From specialization to generalization. From urban density to rural distribution. It's regression to pre-industrial patterns. We're going back 200 years economically. That's not failure. That's adaptation to new constraints. Industrial civilization required infrastructure we no longer have. We'll rebuild that infrastructure eventually. But near-term future is local. Small scale, distributed. That's not defeat. That's survival strategy appropriate to available resources. 10:32 a.m. Webb's convoy returned to East Side successfully. All 15 people safe. Mission accomplished without casualties. They're celebrating modest victory. Successful operation. Supplies delivered. Community strengthened through demonstrated capability and trustworthiness. Webb is broadcasting. Eastside proved we can support allies successfully. Sports complex needed supplies. We provided them. We'll do same for any Alliance member who needs help. That's commitment. That's what Alliance means. We're stronger together. Join us. Webb out, its recruitment pitch. But it's also evidence. Webb made promise. Fulfilled promise. Demonstrated reliability. That's valuable. Trust is built through consistent behavior over time. Webb is building trust by doing what he says. That makes Eastside attractive Alliance partner. Other communities will want to ally with reliable group. The Alliance will grow. Growth creates strength. Strength creates security. Security creates stability. Stability creates recovery. Webb is building foundation for regional recovery through Alliance formation. Its vision beyond immediate survival. Its leadership focused on long-term sustainability. That's what rebuilding requires. Leaders who think beyond tomorrow. Who plan for next month and next year. Webb is that kind of leader. Regions that have leaders like Webb will recover faster than regions without them. 10:44 a.m. We're at end of morning session. Battery at 65%. We're signing off now. Recharge until 2 p.m. Afternoon session will cover hive assault planning. Convoy operations resume. Medical crisis updates. Anything else that develops during off-air hours. Check back at 1400 hours. Stay safe during the gap. Defend your positions. Stay hydrated. Stay human. We'll talk to you this afternoon. This is Outbreak FM, David Morgan and Sarah Chun. Off air until 1400 hours. Day 4 continues. Survive it. Part 2, Midday Consolidation, 2:04 p.m. to 6:38 p.m. 2:04 p.m. This is 98.3 FM. Outbreak FM. David Morgan back on air with Sarah Chun. We're resuming broadcast after 4-hour recharge. Battery banks at 96%. The solar panels collected enough energy during midday sun. We're good for 4 hours of broadcast. Afternoon session begins now. And there's significant developments to report from the morning. Gap, 2:09 p.m. First and most important, the planned hive assault for tomorrow has been canceled. Not delayed. Canceled completely. The organizing communities reassessed after scouting the warehouse more thoroughly. The 500 infected estimate was wrong. Closer to 900. Maybe 1,000. The hive is larger than observed from distance. Attempting assault with 75 people against 1,000 infected is suicide regardless of planning and firepower. The communities made smart decision. Canceled operation when intelligence revealed it was unviable. That's mature judgment. That's survival thinking. Knowing when not to fight is as important as knowing when to fight. Pride doesn't keep you alive. Caution does. Marcus Webb was one of the organizers. He's broadcasting explanation. We scouted the warehouse hive this morning. What we thought was 500 infected is closer to 1,000. Our 75-person force is inadequate. Attempting assault would result in catastrophic casualties for minimal benefit. We're canceling the operation. Some will call this cowardice. I call it wisdom. Dead heroes don't defend their communities. Living soldiers do. We'll focus on defensive operations and small-scale clearing of degraded infected. We'll leave the hives alone until military arrives with heavy equipment and larger forces. Webb out. It's right decision. Some communities are disappointed. They wanted aggressive action, wanted to prove humans can go on offensive. But going on offense prematurely gets people killed for no gain. The hives aren't spreading. They're stationary. They can be avoided. There's no urgency to eliminate them now. Wait for military support. Wait for better intelligence. Wait for tactical advantage to shift further. Then attack. Timing matters in warfare. Right tactics at wrong time fail. Right tactics at right time succeed. Webb knows this. He's patient. He'll attack when conditions favor success. Not when pride demands action. 2:27 p.m. Captain Martinez is resuming convoy operations. First convoy departed northside at 1300 hours. 500 civilian capacity. They're evacuating survivors from western suburbs near the large shopping mall hive. Those survivors have been isolated for 4 days near extremely dangerous infected concentration. Evacuating them before hive decides to disperse is critical. Second convoy departs at 1500 hours. Third convoy at 1700 hours if first two succeed. Goal is evacuate 1500 people today. Bring safe zone combined population to 5500. Then pause operations tomorrow while vehicles get maintenance and guards get rest. The convoy routes avoid. Known hives completely. 20-mile detour to stay clear of shopping mall. 10-mile detour to avoid stadium. 5-mile detour around industrial park. The routes are longer but safer. Speed isn't survival. Safety is survival. Taking extra time to avoid danger is smart tactics. The convoys will succeed because they're planned conservatively. Plan to avoid unnecessary risk. Plan to maximize success probability. That's how you run operations long term. Not through heroic risk-taking. Through consistent conservative execution that accumulates wins while avoiding catastrophic losses. 2:44 p.m. Dr. Chun is broadcasting medical update. The chronic disease crisis continues. Insulin supplies depleted at sports complex. Diabetic patients entering ketoacidosis. He's watching them die over hours. Unable to help. Unable to save them. They're conscious, aware, saying goodbye to families. Then slipping into coma. Then dying. It's slower death than infected attack. More painful, maybe. Definitely more psychologically cruel, because there's time to process dying. Time to regret. Time to grieve your own death before it arrives. Chun is devastated. He's doctor. Doctors are trained to save people. He's watching people die from treatable conditions while unable to treat them. It's breaking him psychologically, even while he maintains professional function. 14 diabetic patients died overnight across both safe zones. 27 remain alive but deteriorating. They have maybe 48 hours before ketoacidosis becomes fatal. Chun is making desperate plea. If any community has insulin, any amount, I'm begging you to trade it to safe zones. We'll pay whatever price you ask. Currency, food, ammunition, labor, anything. These people are dying. They can be saved if we get insulin, please. If you have it and you're not diabetic, you're holding someone's life in your hands. Choose to save them. Chun out. It's emotional appeal. Probably won't work. Communities that have insulin are saving it for their own diabetic members. Or they're hoarding it as valuable trade good. The incentive structure doesn't favor giving insulin to strangers. But maybe someone will help. Maybe someone has surplus. Maybe empathy overcomes rational self-interest. Sarah and I are repeating Chun's plea. Amplifying it. Giving it maximum reach. If insulin exists anywhere in Survivor Network, we're trying to connect it to people who need it. That's our role. Information hub. Connection facilitator. We can't create insulin. but we can make sure people who have it know people who need it. Sometimes that's enough. 3:02 p.m. Sarah's monitoring communications from rural settlements. Her parents' farmhouse compound continues growing. Now 15 families. 97 people. They're harvesting first crops from gardens planted before outbreak. Food production is beginning. Not sufficient for whole population yet, but supplementing. Reducing dependence on scavenged supplies. They're proving agricultural sustainability is achievable. That communities can feed themselves if they have land and knowledge. They're also accepting more survivors but being selective. They're prioritizing families with children, people with useful skills, people who demonstrate cooperative attitude. They're building intentional community, choosing members carefully to create balanced population with complementary capabilities. Other rural settlements are reporting similar patterns. Small groups in farmland, 20 to 50 people, growing food, raising livestock, building shelters, creating sustainable existence independent of supply chains. They're not waiting for civilization to rebuild. They're building their own localized civilizations, micro-societies with their own governance and economics and culture. If these settlements succeed, they become models for larger recovery. They prove sustainable small-scale communities work. They provide templates others can copy. The rural settlements are experimentation sites, testing different approaches to post-apocalypse living. Successful models will spread. Failed models will be abandoned. Evolution through variation and selection. The settlements that work will be copied. The ones that don't will be cautionary tales. 3:19 p.m. The downtown trading post is reporting record volume. 70 groups trading simultaneously. The market is beyond capacity. Lines forming. Delays occurring. The market operator is announcing expanded hours. Opening at 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. Closing at 6 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. 11-hour trading day instead of 8 hours. It's response to demand. The market grows to accommodate users. That's organic growth. No central planning. Just response to market signals. More customers means longer hours. More revenue for operator. Better service for customers. Everyone benefits. That's why markets work. Self-interested behavior creates collectively beneficial outcomes when properly structured. The market operator wants profit. Customers want access. Extended hours serves both interests. No coordination needed. Just rational response to incentives. Current prices show interesting trends. Ammunition prices declining as communities realize major battles are less frequent than feared. Food prices stable as supply runs continue successfully. Medical supplies extremely expensive as chronic disease creates desperate demand. Gasoline moderately expensive as travel increases, but sources remain available. Water purification expensive as contamination spreads. Seeds and farming equipment becoming valuable as communities realize agriculture is long-term survival strategy. The price changes signal evolution of survivor priorities. From immediate defense to long-term sustainability. From consumption of existing stocks to production of new resources. From survival to recovery. The market prices are leading indicator of psychological shift. What people value reveals what they believe about future. 3:37 p.m. We're receiving reports of successful infected clearing operations. Multiple communities conducting systematic patrols. Killing degraded day one infected. Clearing territory block by block. The day one infected at 96 hours are barely functional, slow, uncoordinated, unable to defend themselves. Easy kills. Communities that were defending desperately 4 days ago are now hunting aggressively. The balance has completely flipped. Humans are predators. Infected are prey. That's profound psychological change. changes how communities think about themselves, changes what they attempt, changes what's possible. One community cleared 8 city blocks today, killed 93 infected, 0 casualties among clearing team. They're expanding controlled territory, creating safe zone outside military facilities, proving civilian communities can reclaim ground through coordinated action. They're planning to continue clearing operations daily, expand by 10 blocks per week. In a month, they'll control 100-block area, sufficient for a sustainable community of 500 people. That's recovery timeline made concrete. Specific goals, measurable progress, defined endpoints. That's planning. That's vision beyond survival. That's rebuilding. 3:54 p.m. Captain Martinez is reporting first convoy returned successfully. 486 civilians evacuated from western suburbs. All screened. All confirmed uninfected. They're being processed into safe zones now, fed, given water. Medical evaluation. Assigned sleeping areas. The system is functioning. Second convoy is in progress now. Third convoy departs in 43 minutes. If all 3 succeed, today's evacuation total will be 1,400 people. Combined safe zone population will approach 5,700. That's substantial infrastructure. 5,700 people in military defended facilities with coordinated support. Martinez is also announcing defensive improvements at both safe zones. They're installing better barriers using materials scavenged from construction sites, creating deeper defensive perimeters with multiple fallback positions, establishing ammunition depots at defensive positions so guards don't run dry during extended engagements, training civilian volunteers in military tactics so everyone can contribute to defense. The safe zones are professionalizing, becoming genuinely secure instead of just defended. That's important for morale. People need to believe they're safe. Belief affects behavior. Stressed people make poor decisions. Secure people make better decisions. Creating genuine security creates space for planning and productivity instead of constant fear and reactive behavior. 4:11 p.m. Sarah's fielding calls from survivors asking about human conflict. We're getting reports of violence between survivor groups, fighting over supplies, territory disputes, personal conflicts escalating to lethal force. It's tragic. We survived infected outbreak only to kill each other over resources that could be shared, over misunderstandings that could be resolved through communication, over pride and fear and tribalism. Humans are tribal. We form in groups and out-groups. We cooperate within group. We compete with or fight out group. That's evolutionary programming. Useful when tribes competed for resources in scarcity environment. Counterproductive now when cooperation would benefit everyone more than competition. Sarah's broadcasting appeal. We're hearing about human versus human violence. Communities fighting each other. People dying from human conflict instead of infected attacks. This is preventable tragedy. There's enough resources for everyone if we cooperate. The downtown trading post provides neutral ground for exchange. The alliance structure provides framework for peaceful coordination. The radio network enables communication. Use these tools. Talk before you fight. Trade before you raid. Negotiate before you shoot. The infected are enemy. Other survivors are potential allies. Please, we've lost enough people. Don't lose more to preventable conflict. If you have dispute with another community, contact us. We'll mediate. We'll facilitate negotiation. We'll help you find peaceful resolution. Give peace a chance before choosing violence. It's idealistic maybe. Naive probably. But worth attempting. Some conflicts will be resolved through negotiation. Others will escalate to violence regardless. But reducing human versus human violence by even 10% saves lives, saves resources, saves social capital. We're trying. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But not trying guarantees failure. Trying at least creates possibility of success. 4:29 p.m. Dr. Chun is reporting limited success on insulin crisis. 3 communities responded to his appeal. Small quantities available. Enough for maybe 5 days for critical patients. It's not solution. It's temporary extension. But temporary extension keeps people alive while we search for better solution. Chun is negotiating trades. The communities want compensation. They're charging market rates. It's expensive. Safe zones are paying with ammunition and food and labor services. But they're getting insulin. That's what matters. Markets work even for life-saving medications. Price system ensures resources flow to where they're most valued. People who need insulin more than anything else will pay more than anyone else. Therefore, insulin flows to people who need it most. It's efficient. It's immoral. But it works. Lives are saved through market mechanism, even if we're uncomfortable with putting price on human life. Chun is also continuing prion research. He's testing compounds scavenged from pharmaceutical warehouses, looking for anything that disrupts synthetic prion sequences. He's running trials on destroyed infected tissue, measuring degradation rates with different chemical treatments. It's slow work with primitive equipment, but he's obsessed. Convinced cure is possible, that human ingenuity can solve what humans created. Maybe he's right. Maybe he'll discover something. Maybe infected can be neutralized chemically instead of just waiting for natural degradation. It's thin hope, but hope nonetheless. And hope matters. Hope motivates continued effort. Continued effort creates possibility of success. Without hope, effort stops. Without effort, failure is guaranteed. Therefore, hope, even unrealistic hope, has utility beyond accuracy. 4:47 p.m. The Community Alliance on East Side is expanding. 7-member communities now. 312 people combined. They're drafting formal charter, written rules, defined rights and obligations, dispute resolution procedures, leadership selection process. They're creating governance document, Constitution for Alliance. It's remarkable. Day 4 of apocalypse and people are writing constitutions. That's human nature. We organize. We create rules. We establish order from chaos. Even in worse situations, we build social structures. It's what we do. It's how we survive as species. Individual humans are fragile. Organized humans are resilient. The Alliance is discovering this, realizing that organization multiplies capability. 7 communities working together can achieve what no individual community could alone. Patricia, Vance is broadcasting charter principles. The Eastern Communities Alliance is founded on mutual defense, resource sharing, and peaceful dispute resolution. Member communities maintain autonomy over internal affairs. Alliance coordinates external defense and trade. Disputes between members are resolved by arbitration, not violence. Leadership rotates among communities. Decisions require majority vote. It's democracy adapted for apocalypse. It's not perfect, but it's better than chaos. Join us if you want structure and security. Vance out. It's functioning government emerging from bottom up, not imposed from top down. Communities recognizing benefits of cooperation and formalizing cooperation into institutional structure. If Alliance succeeds, it becomes model for other regions. Other survivor networks will copy the structure, create their own alliances. Eventually, alliances might federate into larger governance. Regional government from community governments from individual survivors. That's how civilization rebuilds. From ground up. From individual to family, to community, to alliance, to region, to nation. We're watching first steps. Community to alliance transition happening now. Day 4, 96 hours post-outbreak. Already creating governance. That's incredible. That's humanity refusing to remain anarchic. We crave order. We create order. We're order-creating organisms. That's our survival strategy. 5:04 p.m. Sarah's monitoring sunset timing. Darkness in 97 minutes. We're approaching end of day 4. Fourth night begins soon. But it'll be least dangerous night yet. Infected continue degrading. Defensive capabilities continue improving. Survivor network continues strengthening. The trajectory is positive. Not perfect. Not easy. But improving. Each day is measurably better than previous day. That's all we can ask. Incremental improvement. Compound interest on survival. Small gains accumulating into major advantage over time. We're winning slowly. Very slowly. But definitely. The infected lose capability daily at predictable rate. We gain capability daily through learning and coordination. Eventually the curves cross decisively, and we dominate. We're past crossover already. Now we're extending advantage. Building buffer. Creating margin for error. Transitioning from desperate survival to sustainable existence. 5:19 p.m. Captain Martinez is reporting all 3 convoys succeeded. 1,432 civilians evacuated today. Combined safe zone population, 5,693 people. They're approaching capacity. North side can hold 2,500 comfortably, 3,000 maximum. Sports complex can hold 3,000 comfortably, 3,500 maximum. Combined comfortable capacity, 5,500. They're at comfortable capacity now. Can expand to 6,500 maximum, but that's overcrowding. Reduced quality of life. Increased disease risk. Reduced food per person. They need to stop growing or establish third safe zone. Martinez is considering options. Establishing third facility requires splitting forces. Weakening both existing facilities. But allowing growth creates overcrowding problems. It's resource allocation dilemma. Limited resources. Unlimited need. How do you distribute fairly? How do you decide who gets security and who doesn't? There's no good answer. Just terrible choices and acceptance of consequences. 5:37 p.m. We're getting reports that some communities are planning migration to rural areas. Not evacuation convoys to safe zones. Complete relocation to farmland. Abandoning urban positions. Moving to low-density areas where infected are scarce and agriculture is possible. It's strategic shift. Recognition that cities are short-term survival locations, but long-term death traps. Rural areas are harder to reach. Dangerous to travel to. But once established, they're more sustainable. Better long-term prospects. These communities are thinking beyond immediate crisis. Planning for months and years. Making difficult decision to abandon defended positions and risk. Dangerous journey for better future. One community of 38 people is departing tomorrow morning. They're headed 80 miles north to agricultural region. They've scouted route. Identified dangers. Planned fallback positions. Packed supplies. They're attempting journey that might kill them. But staying guarantees slow death from depleted supplies and eventual infected breakthrough. They're choosing difficult chance over certain doom. It's rational calculus. Brave decision. If they succeed, they prove rural migration is viable. If they fail, they prove it's not. Either way, Survivor Network learns from their attempt. That's value of bold action. Attempting difficult things provides data. Success or failure both teach lessons. 5:54 p.m. Dr. Chun is broadcasting evening medical summary. 14 diabetic patients died today. 22 remain alive on extended insulin from trade. Cardiac medication patients are entering crisis. 8 patients with heart conditions deteriorating without medication. Estimated survival time, 72 hours. Asthma patients are managing but struggling. Air quality is poor from fires and decomposition. Many are symptomatic. Deaths from chronic disease will continue until military convoy arrives day 9 with pharmaceutical supplies. Chun is preparing for 5 more days of watching people die from treatable conditions. It's psychological torture. But he endures because someone has to provide what care is possible. Someone has to try even when trying is insufficient. Chun is that someone. He'll save who he can. Mourn who he can't. Continue trying because stopping would be surrender. And surrender is death for everyone who needs him. 6:11 p.m. Sarah and I are approaching end of afternoon broadcast. Battery power at 59%. We'll sign off in 27 minutes. Recharge overnight. Return at 6 a.m. tomorrow for Day 5 morning session. Day 4 has been productive. Convoys succeeded. Alliances expanded. Markets functioned. Communities cleared territory. Survivors continued adapting. The trajectory remains positive. We're descending from crisis peak. Still in danger. But less danger than yesterday. Tomorrow will be less than today. Incremental improvement continues. 5 more days until military convoy. 8 more days until infected degrade below critical threat. The countdown continues. We're tracking toward sustainability. Toward recovery. Toward whatever normal means now. 6:23 p.m. We're receiving final calls of the day. People expressing gratitude for broadcasts. Saying we're keeping them sane. Keeping them connected. Keeping them hopeful. It's humbling. Sarah and I are just doing our jobs. Broadcasting information. Coordinating communities. Maintaining communication network. But apparently it matters. Apparently people need this. Need to hear human voices. Need to know others are surviving. Need information that improves survival odds. We're providing that. That's our contribution. Some people fight with guns. Some build with tools. Some heal with medicine. We inform with radio. All contributions matter. All save lives. All enable collective survival. We're proud to be small part of large network of survivors helping each other endure. And to everyone listening. Everyone who's been with us for hours or days. Everyone surviving in whatever situation you're in, stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Day 5 begins. Military help arrives in 5 days. Infected become minimal threat in 8 days. We're halfway to sustainability. Halfway to recovery. You can survive the second half. You survived first half. Second is easier. Countdown continues. Keep surviving. Keep fighting. Keep hoping. We're doing this together. 134,000 of us. Connected by this frequency. United by will to endure. You're not alone. We're here. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. Don't miss it. 6:38 p.m. We're signing off Day 4. 96 hours survived. 134,000 remaining. Community alliances forming. Markets functioning. Territory being reclaimed. Recovery beginning. It's not victory, but it's progress. Progress is enough. Small wins compound. Today's small wins become tomorrow's major advantages. We're building toward sustainability. Toward recovery. Toward future worth living in. That's goal. That's hope. That's what we're fighting for. Not just survival, but life worth surviving for. We'll build that together. Starting tomorrow. Day 5. Be here at 6 a.m. We'll build it together. This is Outbreak FM. David Morgan and Sarah Chun. Off air until 0600 hours day 5. Stay alive. Stay strong. Stay human. See you at dawn. Part 3. The 4th evening. 6:45 p.m. to 10:51 p.m. Asterisk 6:45 p.m. This is 98.3 FM. Outbreak FM. David Morgan with emergency broadcast. We're back on air running on reserve battery power. Something significant is developing and survivors need information immediately. At 6:39 p.m., 4 minutes after we signed off, Captain Martinez broadcast urgent alert. Large group of survivors approaching sports complex requesting emergency admission. Approximately 300 people. They're fleeing the shopping mall hive. The 1,200 infected mass started dispersing at sunset, moving outward from mall. These 300 survivors were sheltering near the hive. They evacuated ahead of infected expansion, running for their lives toward nearest safe zone. Sarah's back at monitoring station. We're tracking military communications. Martinez has called emergency meeting. Sports complex is at capacity. 5,600 people inside. Comfortable limit is 3,000. They're already overcrowded. Adding 300 more creates serious problems. Food rationing becomes more severe. Water consumption exceeds supply. Medical resources stretched thinner. Living conditions deteriorate. Disease risk increases. But refusing admission means 300 people die outside the gates. Die within sight of safety. Torn apart by infected while soldiers watch. That's moral crisis. That's impossible choice. 6:52 p.m. The refugee group is 2 miles from sports complex. Martinez can see them on traffic cameras. 300 people, running, walking, carrying children. Dragging injured. Elderly struggling. They're exhausted, desperate. Some are armed, defending rear. Others are just fleeing. Behind them, visible on cameras, infected are following. Maybe 200 infected. Not running, but pursuing. Shambling after refugees. The infected aren't fast, but they're persistent. They'll chase refugees to safe zone. Create assault situation. Martinez has to decide. Admit refugees and defend against infected assault while dealing with overcrowding. Or refuse admission and watch 300 people die. He has minutes to choose. Whatever he decides, people die. The only question is which people. How many? Under what circumstances? 7:04 p.m. Martinez made decision. He's admitting the refugees. All 300. He's accepting overcrowding and resource strain and defense challenges. Because watching 300 people die outside gates would destroy morale inside. Would break soldiers psychologically. Would create trauma that prevents future effective action. He's choosing difficult option over impossible option. Admitting refugees is difficult. Creates problems. But manageable problems. Refusing refugees is impossible. Creates moral injury that can't be managed. Martinez is making hard choice that preserves humanity while accepting practical costs. He's preparing defensive positions. The refugees will enter through West Gate. Guards will screen for infected. Anyone bitten is quarantined. Anyone showing symptoms is refused entry. Harsh but necessary. Can't allow infected inside perimeter. After refugees enter, gate closes. Infected following refugees will hit defensive positions. Guards will engage with firearms. Kill infected before they breach perimeter. It's standard defense. but complicated by refugee integration happening simultaneously. Multitasking during crisis. Defending while admitting. Fighting while processing. Martinez is coordinating both operations. Directing resources. Maintaining control. This is what professional military does. Executes complex operations under pressure. Civilian groups would collapse under this stress. Military training provides capability to function during chaos. 7:19 p.m. The refugees reached West Gate. They're entering now. Screening in progress. Soldiers checking each person for bites. Questioning about symptoms. Moving people through quickly because infected are approaching. 150 refugees admitted so far. 150 remaining. The infected are 500 meters out. Closing. Guards on perimeter are preparing to engage. Weapons loaded. Positions manned. Overlapping fields of fire. They'll wait until infected reach 200 meters. Then open fire. Create kill zone. Destroy infected before they reach wire. It's same tactics as Day 3 assault, but against smaller force with more rested defenders. This should succeed. Should. Nothing guaranteed. But probability favors defenders. 7:27 p.m. All refugees are inside. Gate closed. 300 people admitted. Processing will continue inside, but gates are secured. The infected reached engagement range. 200 meters. Martinez gave fire order. Heavy weapons open fire. Machine guns. Automatic rifles. Concentrated firepower into infected formation. The infected are being cut down rapidly. 60 destroyed in first 2 minutes. 140 remaining. Still advancing. No fear. No self-preservation. Just forward movement until destroyed. The defenders maintain fire. Disciplined, controlled, efficient. This is much easier than Day 3 assault. Smaller infected force. Better defensive positions. More experienced defenders. The outcome isn't in doubt. Just a matter of expending ammunition until infected are eliminated. 7:34 p.m. The assault is over. All 200 infected destroyed. 0 breaches. 0 casualties among defenders. Ammunition expenditure, 8,000 rounds. That's significant but sustainable. Martinez is pleased. Defensive engagement successful. All infected destroyed. Refugee admission complete. We now have 6,000 people inside sports complex. We're severely overcrowded. Food rationing increases. Water consumption exceeds supply rate. Medical care is stretched. Living conditions are poor. But everyone is alive. That's what matters. We'll manage overcrowding. We'll find solutions. Better to have problems of success than tragedies of failure. Martinez out. It's right attitude. Optimism grounded in reality. Problems exist. But they're manageable problems. Not catastrophic problems. Overcrowding can be solved through organization and rationing. Death can't be solved. Martinez chose solvable problems over unsolvable tragedy. That's good leadership. Good human being. He saved 300 people. Created hardship for 6,000. But net result is 300 more people alive. That's unambiguous win, even if it creates difficulties. 7:52 p.m. The refugee group is being processed. Fed. Given water. Medical screening. Many are injured. Infected scratches. Cuts from running through broken terrain. Dehydration. Exhaustion. Dr. Chun is treating them, alongside sports complex injuries. He's overwhelmed. One doctor treating 6,000 people. It's impossible workload. He's triaging ruthlessly. Life-threatening injuries first. Serious injuries second. Minor injuries ignored. You don't get treatment for sprained ankle when someone is bleeding out. Cold calculus of triage. Harsh but necessary. Chun is saving maximum lives with minimum resources. That's his job. He hates it. Does it anyway. Because someone has to make terrible choices during crisis. Chun is strong enough to bear that weight. The refugees are reporting what happened at Shopping Mall Hive. The infected started moving at sunset. No obvious trigger. Just simultaneous movement. 1,200 infected exiting mall in all directions. Moving outward into surrounding neighborhoods. The hive dissolved, dispersed, created infected swarm flowing outward. Everyone sheltering near mall had to evacuate immediately or be overrun. Most fled towards safe zones or defended communities. Some fled into wilderness. Some couldn't flee fast enough and died. The refugees who reached sports complex are the lucky ones, or the smart ones, or the well-prepared ones. Probably combination. Luck plus competence plus preparation equals survival. 8:07 p.m. Dr. Chun is reporting disturbing pattern among refugees. 7 people bitten during evacuation. They concealed bites during screening. Lied to guards. Got admitted to safe zone. Now they're showing symptoms. Fever. Disorientation. Aggression emerging. They're infected. Inside sports complex. Among 6,000 uninfected people. It's nightmare scenario. Exactly what screening is designed to prevent. But screening depends on honesty. If people lie about bites because they're desperate for admission, screening fails. These 7 people doomed themselves to death and endangered everyone else. Selfish survival instinct, overwhelming social responsibility. They wanted safety so badly, they concealed information that would have protected others. Now everyone pays price for their dishonesty. Martinez is isolating the 7 immediately, moving them to quarantine facility. They're begging for mercy, begging for chance, saying they didn't know, saying they were scared. Martinez is unmoved. You lied during screening. You endangered 6,000 people. You made choice. Now you face consequences. You'll be quarantined until transformation. Then euthanized before you can harm others. I'm sorry, but you did this. You chose admission over honesty. That choice ends here. Martinez out. It's harsh. It's final. It's correct. The 7 people are dead already from infection. Keeping them alive until natural transformation risks outbreak inside safe zone. Euthanizing them before transformation is mercy killing. Prevents them from experiencing degradation into infected. Prevents them from attacking others. It's utilitarian calculus. 7 lives versus 6,000 lives. Easy mathematics. Impossible human decision. Martinez makes it anyway. Because someone has to. Because leadership means accepting burden of terrible choices. He'll carry those 7 deaths forever. Added to 15 soldiers from Day 3 defense. Added to however many die in future. The weight of command. The cost of authority. Martinez bears it because someone must. 8:24 p.m. The quarantine facility is secured. The 7 infected are isolated. Chun is staying with them. Keeping them company during final hours. Talking to them. Recording messages for families. Providing what comfort is possible. He can't save them, but he can witness their deaths with dignity. Can ensure they're not alone. Can honor their humanity even though they made terrible choices. That's Chun's character. He's angry at them for lying, for endangering others, but he's also compassionate enough to sit with them while they die. To treat them as humans instead of problems. That's rare quality. Ability to hold multiple contradictory feelings simultaneously. Anger and compassion. Judgment and mercy. Shun has that ability. It makes him exceptional doctor. Exceptional human. He saves lives when possible. Honors death when inevitable. Both matter. Both require strength. 8:39 p.m. Sarah and I are discussing implications of hive dispersal. If the shopping mall hive dissolved at sunset, other hives might do same. The stadium with 2,000 infected. The warehouse with 900. The industrial park with 800. If they all disperse simultaneously, we get infected surge flowing outward into surrounding areas. Communities near hives will be flooded with infected. Have to evacuate or defend against overwhelming numbers. It's crisis scenario. Potential catastrophic casualties. We need to broadcast warning. Communities near known hives need to prepare for possible dispersal. Need fallback plans. Need evacuation routes. Need to be ready to flee or fight depending on their capabilities and situations. Sarah's broadcasting warning. Attention all communities. The shopping mall hive dispersed at sunset. 1,200 infected moved outward. If you're near known hive locations, prepare for possible dispersal. Stadium hive, 2,000 infected. Warehouse hive, 900 infected. Industrial park hive, 800 infected. If these hives disperse, infected will flood surrounding areas. Communities near hives should implement emergency plans. Evacuate if you can't defend against large forces. Reinforce defenses if you're staying. Monitor hive activity. Report dispersal immediately so other communities can prepare. This is serious threat. Take it seriously. Outbreak FM out. It's dire warning. Some communities will evacuate unnecessarily if hives don't disperse. False alarm. But better false alarm than no warning when dispersal happens. Better to evacuate and return than stay and die. We're erring on side of caution. Accepting false positive over false negative. Over-warning beats under-warning when lives are stake. Some people will be annoyed by unnecessary alarm. But annoyed alive people is better than quiet dead people. We chose warning. Accepted criticism if we're wrong. That's responsibility of information provider. Sometimes you warn about dangers that don't materialize. Better that than not warning about dangers that do. 8:54 p.m. We're getting reports from communities near hive locations. They're implementing emergency plans. Some are evacuating to safe zones or allied communities. Others are reinforcing defenses. Preparing for worst case. Everyone is taking warning seriously. No one is dismissing possibility. That's good. That's survivors who learn from experience. Who understand threats are real. Who prepare adequately. These communities will probably survive whether hives disperse or not. Because they're prepared for both scenarios. Prepared for false alarm and real emergency. Preparation creates options. Options create survival. Marcus Webb at Eastside is reporting their near industrial park hive. 800 infected potentially dispersing toward them. They're reinforcing perimeter. Calling in alliance members. Establishing fallback positions. Prepared to defend or evacuate as situation demands. They have plans for both. They're ready. That's mature community. That's leadership that learns from past. Webb lost Riverside. He won't lose Eastside. He'll do whatever necessary to protect his people. Fight or flee. Both options viable. Both prepared. That's how you survive uncertainty. Prepare multiple responses. Execute the one that situation demands. 9:11 p.m. The 7 infected in quarantine are deteriorating rapidly. Shun is reporting they're entering final stage. Consciousness fading. Aggression increasing. Transformation imminent. He's preparing for euthanization. Humane methods, quick, painless as possible. He's asking families if they want final goodbyes. 3 families said yes. 4 said no. The 3 who said yes are being escorted to quarantine, protected by guards, given 5 minutes with dying family members, saying goodbye through barrier, unable to touch, unable to hold, just words, just love expressed through distance and impending death. It's heartbreaking. These families are saying goodbye to people who made terrible choices, who lied, who endangered others, but who are still loved, still human despite mistakes. Love doesn't end because someone errs, even terminal error, even selfish choice that doomed them. Families love anyway. That's humanity. That's the quality that makes us more than survival machines. 9:27 p.m. The final goodbyes are complete. Families escorted away. The 7 infected are alone with Chun. He's administering euthanization, lethal injection, morphine overdose. They slip into unconsciousness, then respiratory failure, then death, before transformation, before they become infected. They die human. That's mercy. That's Chun giving them final gift. Death with dignity before degradation. He's documenting time of death for each, recording names, ensuring they're remembered as people who died, not as infected who were destroyed. That distinction matters. To families, to survivors, to collective memory. Chun understands this, honors it, even for people who made terrible choices. He witnesses their deaths with respect, records their names, ensures they're not forgotten. That's profound humanity in inhumane situation. 9:44 p.m. Sarah's monitoring reports from communities near hives. So far, no additional dispersal. Stadium hive remains stationary. Warehouse hive remains stationary. Industrial park hive remains stationary. Only shopping mall hive dispersed. Maybe it was a unique event. Maybe hives don't disperse regularly. Maybe we warned about threat that won't materialize. If so, fine. Better false alarm than failing to warn about real danger. We maintain warning posture. Communities near hives stay alert. If 24 hours pass without dispersal, we'll downgrade warning. But for now, precautions remain in effect. Better safe than sorry. That's risk management. That's how you survive uncertain environment. Treat possible dangers as real until proven otherwise. Costs resources. Creates anxiety. But keeps people alive. And alive is all that matters. 10:04 p.m. Captain Martinez is addressing overcrowding at sports complex. 6,000 people in facility designed for 3,000. It's severe overcrowding. He's implementing strict rationing. Food portions reduced by half. Water limited to survival minimum. Sleeping space allocated by lottery. Sanitation facilities overwhelmed. Disease risk increasing. Morale declining. People are uncomfortable, complaining. Some are angry at refugees for creating crowding. Others are angry at Martinez for admitting them. There's tension, conflict, resource competition creating social friction. Martinez is maintaining order through military discipline. But it's fragile. Overcrowding creates pressure. Pressure creates conflict. Conflict creates violence if not managed. Martinez is managing. But it's difficult. Leadership during scarcity is harder than leadership during abundance. Anyone can lead when resources are sufficient. Leading when resources are inadequate requires balancing impossible competing demands. 10:19 p.m. Dr. Chun is back on air after euthanizing the 7 infected. He's exhausted, emotionally devastated, physically drained. But he's broadcasting update. I euthanized 7 people tonight. 7 who lied during screening, who endangered everyone through dishonesty. I'm angry at them. I'm heartbroken for their families. I'm exhausted from constant death. But I'll continue, because someone has to provide medical care during apocalypse. Someone has to make terrible choices. Someone has to witness deaths and honor dying. I'm that someone. Not because I'm special, because I'm here and capable and willing. That's enough. If you're capable and willing, you become essential. That's burden. That's privilege. Both simultaneously. I bear it because refusing would be failure. Personal failure and failure to community that needs me. So I continue. However difficult. However painful. However traumatic. I continue. Shun out. It's raw. It's honest. It's what leadership sounds like when stripped of pretense. Shun is breaking. But he's breaking while continuing to function. That's strength. Not absence of trauma. Ability to function despite trauma. To continue serving while suffering. That's heroism. Not dramatic action in moment of crisis. Sustained action over days and weeks and months while carrying unbearable weight. Shun is hero. So is Martinez. So is Webb. So are thousands of survivors who keep going when stopping seems rational. Who function when breaking seems inevitable. Who help others when helping themselves seems like all they can manage. Heroism is common during apocalypse. Not because apocalypse makes heroes. Because apocalypse reveals heroes who were always there. 10:34 p.m. Sarah and I are approaching end of emergency broadcast. Battery power at 23%. Critical level. We need to preserve power for morning broadcast. We've been on air for 3 hours and 49 minutes. Provided information about refugee crisis. Hive dispersal warning. Overcrowding management. Medical updates. We've done our job. Communities are informed. Warnings are broadcast. Coordination is maintained. Now we rest. Recharge batteries overnight. Return at 6 a.m. for Day 5 morning session. Fourth night is underway. It'll be complicated night. Overcrowded safe zone dealing with resource strain. Communities near hives maintaining alert. Survivors processing hive dispersal implications. But it'll probably be safer night than previous nights. Infected continue degrading. Defensive capabilities continue improving. The trend remains positive despite complications. We're winning slowly. Very slowly. But definitely. 4 days down. 5 days until military convoy. 8 days until infected degradation reaches minimal threat level. The countdown continues. We're tracking toward sustainability. Toward recovery. Toward future worth surviving for 10:51 p.m. We're signing off Day 4, final broadcast of 4th day. 134,000 survivors remaining. 6,000 in safe zones. 8,000 in defended communities. Remainder scattered but surviving. Community alliances forming. Markets functioning. Territory being reclaimed. Recovery beginning. We're not through crisis, but we're descending from peak. Each day is measurably better than previous. That's all we ask. Incremental improvement. Compound returns on survival. We're earning interest on enduring. Every day survived makes next day easier. Every night completed makes next night safer. The apocalypse is losing. Humanity is winning. Slowly, but definitively. Thank you for listening. For surviving. For refusing to surrender. You're why we broadcast. You're why this matters. Stay alive tonight. See you at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Day 5 begins. Military help in 5 days. Infected minimal threat in 8 days. Countdown continues. Keep surviving. Keep fighting. Keep hoping. This is Outbreak FM. David Morgan and Sarah Chun. Off air until 600 hours, day 5. Good night. Fight well. Dawn comes. Asterisk part 4. Night vigil, day 5 preview, 11:17 p.m. to 5:54 a.m. OFR narrative asterisk, 11:17 p.m. The broadcast station is dark again, silent. David and Sarah sleeping in back room. Exhausted from emergency broadcast. Outside, the city settles into fourth night. Different from previous nights. Quieter, more organized. Survivors know what they're doing now. 4 days of experience. 4 days of learning. 4 days of adapting. They're competent now. Not experts, but competent. Competence keeps people alive when expertise isn't available. At sports complex. Captain Martinez walks perimeter checking defensive positions. 6,000 people sleeping cramped in buildings designed for 3,000. Hallways full. Rooms overcrowded. Sanitation overwhelmed. But everyone alive. Everyone protected. That's victory, even if uncomfortable victory. Martinez is bone-tired. Hasn't slept more than 4 hours in any 24-hour period since Outbreak began. Running on duty and responsibility and professional discipline. He'll sleep when crisis ends. If crisis ends. If he survives. Those are big ifs. But dwelling on them serves no purpose. Focus on present. Manage current problems. Let future handle itself. That's how you lead during extended crisis. Hour by hour. Day by day. Don't think about month from now. Think about next 4 hours. Stay sharp. Stay functional. Stay alive. Dr. Chun is in medical station treating injured. Refugees. Cuts, scratches, sprains, dehydration, exhaustion. Nothing life-threatening. That's fortunate. His supplies couldn't handle serious injuries tonight. He's out of sutures. Low on antibiotics. Bandages running short. He's making do, improvising, using whatever materials available. Cloth strips instead of gauze. Duct tape instead of medical tape. Whiskey for sterilization. It's primitive, but effective enough. People receive treatment. Maybe not ideal treatment, but treatment nonetheless. That's enough. That's all he can provide. He accepts limitations, works within them, saves who he can. That's his life now. Save who he can. Accept who he can't. Continue trying regardless. At Eastside Community, Marcus Webb maintains watch on Industrial Park Hive. 800 infected visible through binoculars. Still concentrated. Not dispersing, but possibly preparing to. Hard to tell. Infected behavior is predictable in individual basis. Unpredictable in aggregate. Why did shopping mall hive disperse? Why aren't others dispersing? No one knows. No pattern. No explanation. Just observation and preparation. Webb is prepared. Alliance members are on standby. Ready to reinforce if hive disperses toward Eastside. Ready to absorb Eastside refugees if they need to evacuate. The Alliance works. Provides security through mutual support. Webb is grateful. He'd be alone without Alliance. Alone is vulnerable. Together is strong. He learned that when Riverside fell. He won't forget. He'll maintain alliances. Strengthen them. Expand them. Because alliances are survival multiplier. 12:34 a.m. The hives remain stationary. Communities near them are relaxing slightly. Not abandoning precautions, but reducing alert level. Breathing easier. False alarm maybe. Or delayed danger. Unknown. But immediate threat hasn't materialized. That's positive. Communities can rest. Guards can reduce readiness. Everyone can sleep less stressed. Small victory. No casualties from threat that didn't occur. Better than casualties from threat that did. Prevention is invisible victory. Catastrophes that don't happen leave no evidence. But they're victories nonetheless. Every danger avoided is life saved. Every precaution that seems excessive in hindsight was exactly right in prospect. Webb knows this. Martinez knows this. Chun knows this. Leaders understand that successful prevention looks like paranoia. Unsuccessful prevention looks like negligence. Both appear similar before outcome is known. Difference is only visible after. So leaders choose precaution. Accept criticism if danger doesn't materialize. Because alternative is deaths if danger does materialize. Easy choice when framed that way. 1:47 a.m. Sports complex is quiet. 6,000 people sleeping. Guards maintain watch. Perimeter is secure. No infected activity nearby. The cremation fires have burned out. Bodies reduced to ash. Day 3 assault is cleaned up. Day 4 refugee crisis is processed. Tomorrow brings Day 5 challenges. Whatever those are. Martinez doesn't know. Can't predict. Just prepare generally. Maintain readiness. Respond flexibly. That's leadership during chaos. Can't plan for specific contingencies, because contingencies are unknown. Plan for general capability. Maintain resources. Build flexibility. Respond to whatever emerges. It's reactive strategy. But reactive is only option when future is unpredictable. Martinez has learned this. He plans for capabilities, not specific scenarios. Capabilities enable response to unknown futures. Scenario planning is brittle. Breaks when reality deviates from scenario. Capability planning is robust. Works regardless of specific challenges. Martinez is building capability. Ammunition, food, defensive positions. Trained personnel. Flexible resources applicable to multiple uses. That's resilient system design. 253M. East Side Watches Industrial Park. Still no movement. Webb rotates guard shifts. Fresh eyes on hive. Tired guards sleep. Rotation maintains watchfulness. Prevents fatigue-induced mistakes. Webb learned rotation importance on Day 2 when exhausted guard fell asleep and position was almost breached. Never again. Proper rotations. Adequate rest. Alert guards. It's simple. But simple things keep people alive. Complex tactics fail during execution. Simple tactics succeed. Webb learned this. He keeps things simple. Clear orders. Defined responsibilities. Regular rotations. It works. Eastside is alive because Webb is competent and humble. Competence comes from learning. Humility comes from losing. Webb learned from Riverside loss. Became better leader through failure. That's growth through adversity. Everyone who survives this becomes stronger. Trauma creates capability if it doesn't destroy you first. Trick is surviving trauma, then extracting lessons, then applying lessons. Webb does this. He'll survive, and he'll lead others to survival. That's his purpose now. 3:41 a.m. Dr. Chun finishes treating last refugee. He's been working 8 hours straight, since refugees arrived. Treating injuries, processing admissions, euthanizing infected, supporting families, coordinating care, running medical station essentially alone. He's beyond exhausted, functioning on residual adrenaline. He lies down on floor, doesn't make it to cot, falls asleep where he falls. Someone covers him with blanket, lets him rest. He's earned it. He's saved dozens of lives today. Watched 7 die. Helped die with dignity instead of horror. He'll sleep 4 hours. Wake up, do it again tomorrow. That's his life now. Save people. Watch people die. Sleep briefly, repeat. It's grinding existence. But meaningful. Purpose gives meaning. Meaning enables endurance. Chun has purpose. That keeps him functional when logic says he should break. Purpose is survival advantage during extended crisis. People with purpose endure. People without purpose give up. Chun will never give up. Too many people need him. That need gives purpose. Purpose gives strength. Strength enables continuation. He'll continue. However long required. However difficult. However painful. He'll continue because people need him. That's enough reason. Maybe only reason necessary. 4:27 a.m. Dawn approaches. Eastern sky lightning. Day 5 will begin soon. 4th night ending. Survivors made it through. Not everyone. 3,000 casualties over 4 days. But 134,000 survived. Survival rate improving daily. From 25% casualties, day 1 to 2% day 4. Learning curve is steep. Survivors are climbing it. Getting better at not dying. That's all survival is. Getting slightly better at not dying every day. Compound improvements. Small wins accumulating. Eventually small wins become large advantages. Eventually survival becomes sustainable. Eventually sustainability becomes recovery. That's trajectory. That's hope. That's what David and Sarah broadcast about. That's what Martinez fights for. That's what Chun heals for. That's what Webb leads for. Everyone has role. Everyone contributes. Collective effort. Shared purpose. Mutual survival. That's how humanity endures crisis. Together, always together. Individuals fail. Groups survive. 5:08 a.m. David wakes. Checks equipment. Batteries at 94%. Good charge overnight. Sun provided energy. Technology converted energy to electricity. Electricity powers radio. Radio provides information. Information enables survival. Chain of causation from solar fusion to human survival. Remarkable when considered. Billion-year-old star produces photons. 8-minute journey to Earth. Photons hit silicon panel. Electrons move. Battery charges. Amplifier powers. Radio waves propagate. Receivers detect. Humans hear. Information transfers. Decisions improve. Lives saved. All because star is fusing hydrogen. Perspective helps sometimes. Reminds you you're part of larger system. System continues regardless of human drama. Stars shine whether humans survive or die. That's simultaneously insignificant and freeing. Our survival doesn't matter to universe. Therefore, we're free to define our own meaning. We matter because we decide we matter. We create meaning through choice. Choice to survive. Choice to help others survive. Choice to maintain civilization despite collapse. Those choices create meaning. That meaning makes survival worthwhile. 5:31 a.m. Sarah wakes. Joins David at equipment. They prepare for day 5 morning broadcast. Coffee is gone. They drink water. Rations for breakfast. Canned beans. Stale crackers. Food is food. Taste doesn't matter. Calories matter. Hydration matters. They eat mechanically. Fuel for function. They're machines now. Biological machines requiring maintenance. Food is maintenance. Water is maintenance. Sleep is maintenance. They maintain themselves because machinery that breaks can't perform function. They have function to perform: broadcasting, coordinating, informing, maintaining hope. That function requires functional machinery. So they maintain themselves. Not for pleasure, for function. That's survival mindset. Everything is instrumental. Nothing is valued for itself, only for enabling continued function. Later, if they survive, they'll recover capacity for intrinsic value, for pleasure independent of function. But now, during crisis, everything is tool. Food is tool for providing energy. Sleep is tool for cognitive function. Water is tool for biochemical processes. They themselves are tools. Tools for information distribution. They accept this. Embrace it. Because tools with purpose are better than humans without purpose. Purpose matters more than comfort. Always 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes until broadcast. David and Sarah review overnight developments from military radio traffic. No hive dispersals except shopping mall. Sports complex overcrowding stabilized. Communities near hives maintained alert without incident. Medical casualties continued from chronic disease. Infected continue degrading on schedule. Nothing unexpected. Nothing catastrophic. Just continued slow improvement mixed with ongoing tragedies. That's pattern now. Improvement doesn't mean no one dies. It means fewer die. Not zero, fewer, directionally positive. Incrementally better. That's all progress ever is. Not perfection. Just improvement. Slightly better today than yesterday. Slightly better tomorrow than today. Compound that over days and weeks. Eventually, it becomes significantly better. But daily changes are subtle. Easy to miss. Easy to think nothing is improving. But it is, measurably, objectively, survival rate increasing. Capability expanding. Territory reclaimed. Recovery beginning. Progress is real. Just slow. So slow it's invisible day to day, but visible week to week. The long view reveals progress. Day-to-day view reveals struggle. Both true, both important. Leaders maintain long view. Keep perspective. Maintain hope. Share hope with those who lost it. That's leadership purpose. Technical competence matters, but maintaining hope matters more. Hopeless people give up. Hopeful people persist. Persistence enables survival. Therefore, hope is survival tool. 5:54 a.m., 6 minutes until broadcast. David positions notes. Sarah checks monitoring equipment. Both take breath. Prepare mentally. They've done this 8 times now. Morning day 1 through morning day 5. 8 4-hour sessions plus emergency sessions. They're professionals now, polished, efficient, effective. The broadcast day 5 morning session. Provide information. Coordinate survivors. Maintain network. And if you're listening when they begin, if you survived 4th night, if you're hearing this transmission, you're survivor. Not lucky. Not temporarily alive, survivor. You've made it 96 hours. Through initial chaos. Through infrastructure collapse. Through resource scarcity. Through constant danger. You survived. That's achievement. That's victory. Celebrate briefly. Then continue surviving. Because crisis isn't over. But you're proving survival is possible. You're evidence that humanity endures. Your reason David and Sarah broadcast. Your reason Martinez fights. Your reason Chun heals. Your reason Webb leads. Your reason anyone does anything. Because you're worth saving. Humanity is worth preserving. Civilization is worth rebuilding. That's faith. That's hope. That's choice to believe survival matters. And that choice makes it true. Believe survival matters. Act like survival matters. Eventually survival becomes reality. That's how we win. Through collective choice to survive. Through shared commitment. Through mutual support. Together. Always together. 6 a.m. Day 5 begins. Microphone goes live. David speaks. This is 98.3 FM. Outbreak FM. David Morgan here with Sarah Chun. It's 6 a.m. on day 5 of the outbreak. If you're listening, you survived 4 nights. 96 hours. You're not lucky anymore. You're skilled. You're competent. You're survivor. Today, we continue surviving together. Military help arrives in 5 days. Infected become minimal threat in 8 days. Countdown continues. Day 5 begins now. The broadcast resumes. Information flows. Survivor network reconnects. Coordination continues. Hope persists. Humanity endures. Day 5 begins.